Welcome back, everyone. I'm here with Dr. Bruce Weaver.
Great to be here.
Welcome back. Thank you very much for coming back. Bruce, obviously you handle my medicals and pretty much everyone that works here and comes here as a student as well. But you were reading an interesting article in AOPA with something that you already did. They just kind of coined a new phrase that is absolutely awesome, right? And
oh, yeah, I'm totally stealing it.
We're going to borrow that.
I don't really know if it was AOPA or an individual person or maybe some of the FAA came up with it. I don't know, but I'm stealing it, or I'm definitely going to pirate it. Oh, shout out to Pirate Day tomorrow.
Oh,
right?
really?
So bring your article.
Yep.
Yeah, but basically what we talked about it before in our previous episode about these medical evaluations for pilots. So we kind of do an evaluation visit to go over any kind of things that people are concerned about in their history or medications that they're on, and we kind of tease that out. Okay, what do we need to collect as far as information prior to that visit, actually to do the physical. But yeah, in the AOPA, in the last one in July, there was an article on that about pre-flight your medical.
Yep.
And I just thought it made so much sense. And I think that terminology really goes far in the aviation community because they already know that terminology. It's nothing new. It's not an evaluation. It's like, what are you evaluating me for? So it kind of like opens the door. We just want to pre-flight your medical, just like you pre-flight your aircraft. Okay. And so in doing that, I want to, go over some cases where and how important that is.
Right. Yeah. Well, let's get into it. I mean, obviously, this is something that is kind of near and dear to my heart because,
you did one.
Yep, I basically did the consult with you to make sure that everything was taken care of, and I had all my ducks in a row. For me to then walk through the door, and
and we did your physical, and we were able to issue right there on the spot.
Yep.
There was no deferral process and none of that. So interestingly, in that same AOPA journal in July of this year, they reported that the FAA right now is running about 190 days behind in their approval processes. So to me, every pilot that comes through the door to do their physical has this expectation that they're going to walk out that door with their medical certificate. Yep. That's the whole premise of why they're there. And to have to defer something and put it on that block where it's going to be 3, 4, 5 months before they even get a letter.
Yeah.
That to me is unreasonable if there's something we could have done to pre-flight that. So I think, for example, one of the things, it was actually amazing. I just got this letter yesterday from the FAA from one of my pilots, and this is an exam that we did, and this is all redacted. The exam was done on 8/25/25. I got the letter that was sent out September 8th. I got it yesterday, which was the 17th.
Right.
And this is a continuation of a special issuance for his diabetes.
That's super fast.
So this is diabetes, and we have all of our ducks in a row. We submit it. Everything looks great. I issue the medical, and then the FAA follows up 2 weeks later and say, yeah, we're good. It just makes everything so much easier and smooth.
No, obviously, everything's redacted on there, so that's great.
Yeah.
But was that a first-class medical?
This is a second class.
Second class, okay.
Second class.
Yeah.
So it to me, doing it this way just streamlines the process and makes everything so much easier, not only for me, but for the pilots, especially when you have a job to get back to. So to be waiting 4 or 5 months just for the letter is kind of insane. Now, that doesn't mean we have to wait 4 to 5 months for the letter to determine what they need. We can still follow up and still collect the data and upload it and try to push it into that review process if we can complete all the data requirements. But still, there's no reason you shouldn't be able to walk out if it's something like this. Now, if it's first time and you have diabetes, again, that has to still be deferred and you have to wait. But if you have diabetes and you already are flying, bring me everything. Otherwise, I have to defer it.
Right. So inside of that, I know you've got your new flyer there as well
Yeah.
to try to help people understand some of this.
Yeah.
So what is it that people should really be paying attention to on some of this? Obviously, there's a lot of people that are out there that are like, oh man, I'm super healthy. You know, I've got this, but that isn't it. That's not important. Well, you know, come and see you and, you know, lay everything out and you know, the honesty is what's going to help them move forward,
I
right?
usually, you know, when I'm the moment I'm told I'm super healthy, then the follow-up question for them is, when was the last time you saw a doctor?
Oh, like 15 years ago.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so you don't know what you have until it's diagnosed.
Yeah.
And running ahead of that and staying healthy means that getting the proper screenings
Yeah.
in place. Because, not to be morbid about it, but nobody dies of nothing.
Yeah.
Right. So I had a friend in medical school, and he said, "Yeah, my dad just died of old age." He didn't die of old age. He died of something. It was just never diagnosed.
Yeah.
So the thing is, you don't know what your blood pressure is until you measure it. You don't know what your cholesterol levels are. You don't know what your prostate levels are. And prostate cancer can still kill you, despite what some of others want to say.
Yes.
All right. And colonoscopies. Colon cancer is real, and we're seeing literally 1,000% increase in the rates of colon cancer in the younger groups, even going down into the 20s and 30s.
Yep.
So we could discuss reasons for that, but that's outside this purview. But invariably, we want to be making these evaluations and making sure that you're healthy. You may feel that you're healthy. You don't have any feeling of any pathology, but hypertension's the silent killer.
Yep.
You don't even know you have it until you come in, oh, it's white coat. All right, it might be, but nobody in my office, you've seen it, none of us wear our white coats. So
I've got to be honest, it is probably the most relaxed medical facility, if we can call it that I've ever been in.
Thank you.
I sit down, I've got my cup of coffee, I've got a bottle of water, you know, Rachel's being super nice as soon as I walk through the door. Then I have to deal with you, but you know, but you guys are awesome. You know, you put everybody at ease. Definitely put me at ease. Sit down, and it's a chat, and then you pull out that cuff, and it's like, oh well.
But it's in a comfy chair with
Yeah.
piano music going, and it's just nice and chill. Yeah.
Well, my
We try to
blood
keep it
pressure,
that way.
I'm pretty fortunate with my blood pressure
Yeah,
for my size and age. Like, I do pretty well on that. And I think there's an awful lot of like early 30-year-olds that have higher blood pressure than me, so I do okay with it.
So we have developed this flyer, and right on the front page, MedXpress confirmation numbers. That's probably one of our biggest challenges is when folks come in, and even seasoned pilots will do it as well. Most of the time it's the students, but seasoned pilots will too. Oh, I got to do that right. And they totally forget, and we need that confirmation number.
Yep.
If we do not have it, I cannot get into the medical. There's no way I can get it. I can't call the FAA and get it from them. It has to come from you.
Right.
And so most of the time they'll email it to you. People open up their phone. They got 1,000 emails, you know, over the past week that unread. They have, and I don't even know what to search for to find it. And so as a consequence, you know, we have these pro tips here, and one of the ones that we like is just take a screenshot. As soon as they send it to you, take a screenshot. It's in your photos. It'll be a lot easier to find there. And then drink plenty of water, because we do have to get some urine for sugar and protein. It's amazing how many folks think we're doing drug screens. You know, that's not my job. That's your carrier that does that for you. Either motor carrier if it's a driver, or your employer if it's aviation. We do want to limit the caffeine and nicotine a little bit, you know, so we can keep those pressures under control. So we always recommend eliminating that day, and then take the long way to the office. You know, back roads, and stay out 441. You know. And then on the backside, we have, you know, the health conditions and so forth that, you know, there's certain conditions where we can issue.
Right.
All right. We call them khakis. These are conditions AME can issue if certain criteria are met.
Right.
These are classic. All right. You're much better off bringing in the data. So if we pre-flight it, well, I have thyroid problem, hypothyroid. Hyper is different. Hypothyroid. low testosterone. I'm on Ozempic for weight loss. I have hypertension. These are just check sheets for me to work through.
Right.
And as long as I have the data, your TSH or your hematocrit number, but what do you need for low T? I'm on testosterone for low T. What do you need? That's what the pre-flight's about. All right. Bring me this and a letter from your treating physician. All right. If you're on Ozempic for weight loss, great. Bring me a letter from your physician. I need an A1C. Just because we want to, no, he doesn't have diabetes. It's for weight loss.
Yeah.
And we just want to verify that. And these are things that I can issue right on the ground rather than have to defer it.
Right.
So much easier. All right. And then I think the biggest one for me that really kind of makes this the most important concept of what we're trying to do here is sleep apnea.
Right.
Sleep apnea is a special issuance, but it's one of those very few rare conditions where I can actually issue on the ground, and the FAA issues that special issuance retroactively.
Okay.
So it's absolutely fantastic. And so I'm looking for CPAP data. I need a form that's a checkbox form that's filled out by the treating physician. With data points, they just put it in there and they sign it. Great, done. All right. And I need your last sleep study.
Right.
I need those 3 documents. Now, where do you get that form? Well, you get it from me at the Preflight Medical, because I'll give you everything that you need to go get filled out. Go get it filled out. Bring me that data. I'll have you sign an airman compliance report or statement when you're in the office saying that, yes, I use it and I am doing well on it. Great. I can upload all that information, and if it all checks out and meets all of our criteria, I issue. The special issuance will come later from the FAA.
Right.
It's outstanding. Otherwise, it's a full deferral and you're back in that 190-day block with everybody else. And so, again, there's certain conditions, I think, that we can make everyone's life easier and at the same time take the pressure off the FAA. There's a reason they're 190 days behind because they have too much stuff hitting their way.
Yeah.
If we can take care of certain things on the ground here that don't have to go through the FAA, and all they got to do is review it and say, yeah, this looks great. And in 2 weeks we get a letter. Yeah, he's fine.
Yep.
And that's kind of my goal, is to get people thinking about that before you go get your medical, is there anything that I need to bring?
Yeah.
And that's where we sit down, quick conversation. You got this, or that. I can give you the paperwork that needs to be completed by the doctor. Bring in your TSH number for hypothyroidism, a note from your doctor saying you're good. Done.
Yeah.
All I need, and I can issue.
Okay. And then what other advice is based inside of that? I know the last time when we spoke, it was you've got to come in and you've got to come in with honesty on your mind.
Yeah.
You are there to try to help.
This was one other point I was going to make, and that's the perfect time to make it here, is that those forms that the FAA likes, I like, and in the long run, you like it, because it's a checkbox form that's asking about sleep apnea,
Right.
or weight loss medicines for like Ozempic.
Right.
All right. These are checkbox forms that you just check, and you write in the numbers. That's it. Alternatively, what we can get is a detailed clinical progress note from your treating physician.
Right.
Those we don't like.
Right.
Because with today's electronic medical record system, those things are like a synopsis of your entire medical history. It's got all your surgeries on past medical medications that you're on, past medical history, social history. All these things are listed in there.
Yep.
All I care about is sleep apnea.
Right.
I don't want all that stuff there, because invariably there's Percocet in there in your med list for your hip replacements, all right? And it's still in there.
Yeah.
Because in healthcare, we're great about adding medicines to your med list. We're not very good at taking them away, right?
Yeah.
Because that reconciliation stuff that we talk about doesn't really happen with the degree of frequency that we would like to see.
Yep.
And so now I send that letter to the FAA, And now you get a letter requesting more information about your usage of Percocet. They want to see how many times you filled it, so they want pharmacy records. They want you to do a drug screen, and they want you to write a statement about your usage.
Yep.
When the orthopedic surgeon gave you 6 tablets 2 years ago.
And that, when it's really funny, is the fact that I never even used any of them
Yeah.
for either one of mine.
That's my point. So 6 tablets 2 years ago does not an addict make.
Yeah.
All right. You that's not going to happen. That's why we only give you 6.
Yeah.
And so we're trying to, it's a different conversation about opioid abuse, but things show up on there. And sometimes doctors use a diagnosis as a working diagnosis,
Yeah.
but it's not the real diagnosis. And so you can't have headaches rule out migraine anymore. We used to be able to do that. So now, in order to get the MRI, they write migraine on there so they can get the MRI and then say, no, you don't have any brain tumors or anything like that. Your vascular bed's all good. You're fine.
Yeah.
And so, but now migraine still sits there.
Yep.
Now they want to know about your history of migraine. Or in order to get your breathing machine approved for an upper respiratory or lower respiratory infection, they put asthma or COPD or something on there.
Yep.
Now that's still on your past medical history.
Yep.
You don't have COPD. You just had bronchitis.
Yep.
But bronchitis doesn't get you the machine.
Yep.
COPD does. And so I put COPD instead of bronchitis to get you the machine, but now the diagnosis is on your past medical history.
Yep.
Now we have to try to prove the negative. So yes, be honest, but at the same time, what we really want to be looking at is do the forms.
Yeah.
That way, give the FAA what they want and what they're asking for, nothing more, nothing less.
Right.
Because sometimes we're giving them stuff that it's just like you just open up a can of worms to things that don't really exist.
Yeah. So, first off, tell everybody how they can get in touch with you and with Rachel to be able to get an appointment. You do telephone consultations as well,
We will do
correct?
that for the pre-flight medical stuff. Yes, we will do that. Obviously, for the actual physical exam, that has to be in person. That was a huge challenge during COVID. To reach me by phone, it's 352-729-1375. And by website, Dr. Weaver, all spelled out, one word.com. So those are the two easiest ways to get in touch with us.
Right.
That'll have our email and online scheduling for Mondays. We still allow that on Mondays for online scheduling for physicals, evaluations, whatever needs to happen.
And then something that we spoke about the last time, which obviously I know a little bit more about now because we've talked about it, is you've got a very unique concierge-based medical approach to things as well, right?
Yeah, and so coming out of COVID, like I said, it was difficult. And so when we started doing the flight physicals, DOT physicals, Coast Guard physicals, all that stuff, independently, we kind of had it set up because we weren't real busy.
Right.
And so we could do these 45-minute, hour-long appointments. And that calm, slow, relaxed environment, so you're not being pushed through like cattle, there was a very good and favorable response to that.
Right.
And that unique approach that many other people aren't able to do because they have a full medical practice on top of that makes it very difficult to have that kind of approach and still be trying to see 30 people a day over here.
Yeah.
It just having both of those people in the same office just doesn't work, all right? Because you come into a waiting room and there's 5-10 other people sitting there and everybody's waiting for an hour.
Yeah.
And that doesn't do your blood pressure any good. No. And so you know what our waiting room looks like. We call it a living room, literally 2 chairs for people to sit in. I have my not a lounge chair, what do you call it, a club chair that I sit in, and Rachel has her desk there, like a regular office style desk. There's no glass window between us. No. And so it's very open, and I think that helps bring about the honesty, is that you don't feel like you're being judged. Yep. Because as a physician, I believe that you're there to make diagnoses, not judgments.
Yep.
And so as a consequence, it's like, this is what we need to do. and just make it very simple. And I don't really beat around the bush, you know me. So I'm just very direct, and these are the things that we need to do. When we started acquiescing, I will say, to many of the pilots that were waiting for me to start doing primary care again. Rachel, my wife, better half, nurse, right-hand person here, we talked a lot about it and trying to figure out how we were going to bring primary care into this community. And there were a lot of options. We could have signed up with the insurance companies. They would have dumped a 3,000 patient panel on me. I would have had to expand the office, hire 3 more people to do billing and coding and all that other stuff. But then we're back into that boat again, where you're sitting there for an hour waiting for me because most doctors, on average, run an hour behind.
Yeah.
And it's just why you would book a 15-minute appointment when you know you can't get it done doesn't make any sense to me. But that's the way the system's designed. So they typically run 5 minutes behind, another 10 minutes behind, and by noontime, they're an hour behind. They'll catch back up at lunch, and then the same thing happens in the afternoon. I didn't want that life again. I've done that for 20 years, and I was out. I'm done. I don't want to do that anymore. And so we decided that if we were going to keep it at 45-minute appointments, how many 45-minute appointments can you have in a day when we're running a schedule from basically 9 to 3, an hour break for lunch? You get about 7.
Yeah.
Well, then we have a morning appointment and an afternoon appointment that's always available for one of our sick concierge patients.
Right.
Because that's what you have to do. That's what you're there to do. And in order to have, promises made, promises kept, you have to have those available for them. So I keep those available. And then we can always book a lunchtime appointment if we really needed to. So we've gone up to 10 in a day for necessity reasons on that day. But in general, we see 6 to 8 patients a day, all 45-minute appointments, in that same calm, relaxed, sit back and talk and listen. I think that's the biggest point in medicine today is that there's too much talking and not enough listening. And I think that goes on both sides. I think patients need to hear what we're saying and not be rushed. Too much of this is reliance on your after-visit summary. Here's all my directions for you. I don't have time to tell you. Right. And it's like, that's not medicine, all right? Yeah. And the concierge part of it has gone very well.
Yep.
We put a patient cap on it so that in order to deliver that kind of service, you can only do that for so many patients.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of that, then the practice model starts to change because you can't do 45-minute appointments anymore. Now you're doing half an hour, and you start shortchanging everybody that came before, and I ethically can't do it. So I just don't let greed come into my life, and I just do it this way for this number of patients, and I can do that tolerably and still allow for all the flight stuff. Yep. Initially, our number was much higher than what it actually wound up being, but no pun intended, but the flight medicine stuff just really took off.
Yeah. That's awesome.
My best year in the other clinic was in 2019, and we did just over 100 physicals that year.
Right.
The first year doing this, we were 5 shy of that number.
Right.
And nobody knew where I was yet. They were still trying to find me again. And because of some non-compete issues, I was restricted from doing any kind of advertising and reaching out. So I just had to wait for them to find me. But by the second year, we were over 300. And the last year, as well as this year, we're on track now. We're at 500 a year on physicals, both flight, DOT, and Coast Guard. So it's pretty amazing. But that growth has taken up those appointment slots. So I wasn't able to expand the concierges where I wanted to, just so I can have availability for you all.
Yeah. Well, we very much appreciate it.
We appreciate you.
We always, whenever we're getting a new pilot or, somebody that's coming in for renewals, more training, whatever it might be, we always say, go see Dr. Bruce.
Yeah.
He's the guy to go see. So
We have a local seaplane operation, and they do some amphibious training and certifications, and it as soon as they call, we already know the drill. It's generally somebody that has come into the area, flown down, whatever it is, because they want to train amphibious, and we get the phone call. Their medical was expired 3 months ago or whatever, and they need it now.
Yeah.
And so again, the availability that we have been able to maintain is still very good. I have appointments available tomorrow still.
that's great.
But that's just, again, how we run it, and keeping the patient population low and manageable allows us to have this kind of availability. So they call and we get them in. It's great.
Well, that's absolutely amazing. So thank you for coming on again.
Thank you
Just
for
a
having me.
remind everyone how they can get in touch.
All right. Dr. Weaver, all one word, drweaver.com for the website. And the phone number is 352-729-1375.
And obviously, Derek will go ahead and put it on the screen again.
And if you wouldn't mind, if we could, post that someplace on
Yep.
the site too.
Derek
'cause
will get that up there
I
as
think
well.
it's not just for the folks around here. I think it works for, if you want to fly in
Really,
California, I think that's still a great information sheet to help not only AMEs, but the pilots as well.
And you're always open to having people fly in from California to do
We
the
have 'em.
medicals with you as well.
We've had them.
Disney's right round the corner.
apparent-
The family can be at Disney while they're doing their flight medical
Apparently, we're about a quarter of the cost of some of the AMEs in California.
with you. Okay, then
But that's what I've been told.
it pays out pretty well. Get the wife a nice vacation and
Yeah.
stop in and get your medical.
Save a couple few hundred on your physical.
Well, thank you very much again. And Rachel, thank you very much again as well. So
Thank you, Craig.
take care and stay safe, everyone.